Good.
Okay. Yes.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Snack and Chat. I am joined once again with health coach, lifestyle coach Tiffany Phillips from the. Why do I always draw? I have the organization's name on my mind, and then as soon as I try to say it,
See,
like I'm like,
it's
wait, what is?
the Wellness Coalition in
I knew
Montgomery,
that.
Alabama. It's okay.
I
It's
think I
okay.
always get because one of our other partner organizations is the Watley um,
Mm,
organization. And so I know it's W coming and then I forget.
right. So it's like, which
So
one
my
is it? Is it
apologies.
Wiley? Is it
The
Wellness?
Wellness Coalition. Tiffany
Coalition.
Phillips is here with us today.
Yes.
And our topic of conversation is broccoli and cauliflower. Woo!
Woohoo. Everybody's like,
I know,
no,
right? We
thank
gotta get
you.
excited about broccoli.
Yes. Exactly.
Well, what did you bring to for show and tell today?
So for show and tell today, I simply just roasted some vegetables. I'm trying to bring them
Nice.
into the camera here.
Mhm.
So I love weekly. What I do is I roast this big pan of vegetables. Add different spices to it. Right, you can get a whole different a vibe, right? So this week it was more so I did some Dijon mustard with some olive oil, and I like to make a paste and then just rub it and massage it into the florets. So I did some kosher salt, some garlic powder, some Italian seasoning, some Dijon mustard, and olive oil. Mixed that all up together, and then tossed it and baked it in the oven for on 450 high, and I
Mhm.
separated them between two pans because it's important not for them not to steam, but to
Yeah.
roast. And I like that crisp color, that brown color that brings out the caramelization.
Mhm.
It's I just think it's tasty. It's good to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds
So it's
yummy.
a yeah, I love it. I mean, it's simple. Sometimes I like a little sweet, so I might throw some sweet potatoes in there with it, so then you get the salty sweet combination too. So
Mhm.
yeah, so many different ways, spot you can do curry, you can do some balsamic vinegar. I mean, and get a different vegetable every week. And yeah, and just throwing in everything. But one thing that I was thinking the other day was that in talking to some participants in one of the classes, we're often taught to shop the outside of the grocery store, right? Not the middle
Yes.
aisle. But I
Yeah.
was like, when it comes to snacking, why had the snacking have to be different? It's like when most people think of snack, they think of those inside aisles, right? A bag, a box, instead of you go to your pantry instead of going to something fresh, maybe in the refrigerator. And so it's just a challenge, when it comes to snacking to think outside that package. And you could be sometimes I like to have like a protein bar, but it's still processed, right? It's still not a whole food. So it's good to, think outside of your granola bar, your granola, your typical pantry staples as snacks. And vegetables are a good option, I
Yeah.
think, for
I
that.
think they're great. They're great.
Yeah.
That's why we've been doing this series too, is just to kind of highlight how you can take food and make it snacks. Because like you said, we typically think of, you say think snacks, and everybody starts thinking of potato chips and pretzels, and like all of these
Yeah.
little things that are super processed and
Yes.
have very little nutrients. So if we can do snacking in
Mm-hmm.
a way that's a little bit more healthy, has all those nutrients in it that we need, then we're doing a lot better for our bodies for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with these broccoli and cauliflower, I mean, like they have a high number of nutrients in it. So if you can snack on something like this, you're getting that much more um,
Mm.
into your system that your body needs, like all these nutrients and micronutrients that your body can't produce
Yes.
itself, but it needs to get from the food. And so, cauliflower and broccoli,
Yeah.
great options.
Right. It's one of those high octane
Yeah. Oh,
foods, right? When you think about gasoline for your car and fuel for your car, you want to get the good stuff,
yeah.
the low grade, but
Mhm.
yeah.
Yep. And and as we were talking before, you mentioned how you didn't realize they was so high in vitamin C.
Yes.
So, broccoli and cauliflower both have a good source of vitamin C. I think broccoli is a little bit higher, but
Yeah.
instead of going to those oranges, orange juice,
Yeah.
kind of get trapped in
Process.
that
Yes.
mindset of this is where
Mm-hmm.
we're going to get this, just like they think you can only get calcium from milk.
Milk.
Right?
Right.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So you can get it from things like, you can actually get it from things like kale and other cruciferous vegetables.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah, and
just
it's good that you can pronounce that word.
cruciferous.
I always like Christian.
Look, I've been practicing. I was practicing beforehand.
I'm like,
You,
well done.
you heard me fumble a little bit, though.
I was like, I always struggle with that one.
Yes,
I'm like,
it's
yeah, the
one of those
green
tongue
stuff.
twisters. Yes, for
Yes,
sure.
it really is.
What I just found out, I was just doing some reading, and they call them cruciferous vegetables because the leaves kind of are in a shape of a cross.
Really?
I was like, I never knew that, because you never really see the leaves of the
Yeah,
plant,
you
because you
don't.
see the broccoli stalk, but I
Right.
see like leaves and stuff that come out from it. Um,
Hmm.
but like, I mean, cruciferous vegetables include kale and collards and like
Right.
arugula and cabbage and Brussels sprouts. But I don't never remember seeing like,
Yeah.
I have to look into that. So I was like, huh,
That's interesting.
very interesting.
Huh. A little fun fact.
Little
So,
fun
what do
fact.
you have here on your plate?
What I brought are it's basically like these they're almost like little muffins, but they're cauliflower and broccoli bites. So it's a combination of broccoli and cauliflower that's been, put in the food processor, along with some like fresh parsley. Um, I use egg whites in it,
Mm,
and a little bit of Parmesan cheese.
mm,
And so the eggs and the cheese will kind of help it stick together. But they're just in these really convenient bite size.
mhm,
Use a regular muffin pan, but you can use
mhm.
ones and make them in a different size. And then I put in like some garlic powder, some onion powder, a little bit of pinch of salt and pepper, and they're really good. I
Good.
mean,
Now, would your husband or your son eat these?
now, my son is like
Like,
is 2, almost 3. He's doing
mhm,
a lot better with food, because he kind of went through that picky phase where it was just kind of like,
mhm,
it doesn't look right, it doesn't feel right.
mhm.
But now, like the other day, I sat him down and he was eating radishes and carrots and
Oh,
celery
wow.
and jicama. I don't know if you know what jicama is.
Wow. Yes, I do.
Okay.
It's crunchy. It's good.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I was like, I want more. I want more. So I was like, sweet. So he's doing better. And like the other day, he ate some black eyed peas with us. He ate the peas, and
Oh, is that
whereas
for New Year's?
exactly.
Okay.
So I thought for sure he would eat these, or at least try them.
Try
He
it.
he kept trying to say, "Oh, I want some, I want some," and then he'd look at it and be like, and turn around.
Yeah, I know how
So I kind of we're at the bribing phase right now. So I was like, okay, just take a bite of this, and then I'll give you one of your suckers. And his suckers are like the little suckers that are sweetened with xylitol, so they don't have any like sugar in them.
Mhm.
So he thinks he's
Mhm.
eating candy. So he took a bite, and then he just held it in his mouth. He was like,
Like this texture, I can't get with
right.
it.
I was like, okay, that's fine. If you don't like it, you can spit it out on your plate.
Right,
Thank
yeah.
you for trying it. Like
Trying
you
it.
never
Yeah, and you
like it unless you
encourage
try it.
that.
So
Yeah, that's good.
yeah.
Now,
So
you mentioned a food processor. Now, say I don't have a food processor. Could I chop it up, you think, and
oh
do
yeah.
your recipe? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can just chop it up with a knife. I mean, it just takes the food processor just saves time. You could also
Mm-hmm.
do it in a blender if you just do a small amount
Oh,
at a time.
uh-huh.
Obviously, like the blenders aren't like big, like this food processors are a little bit wider. Well, yeah, but
Right.
blenders can be smaller, so I would just do a small handful at a time, chop it up. But in this instance, you can find, because I use frozen
Uh-huh.
broccoli and cauliflower.
Oh, you did? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, this is just gonna make it so much easier. But they always have rice cauliflower, in the grocery store.
Yes, they do.
So to save you some time, you could always just get it riced
Mm,
already.
that's a good option.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
then you don't have to worry about chopping it. Now the broccoli,
Yeah.
we haven't gone to the the point of doing
Rice.
broccoli.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if we'll get there. I think cauliflower is the
Right.
it food right now.
You're right. It really is cauliflower mashed potatoes, cauliflower
Mhm.
pizza crust, cauliflower breadstick. I mean, what cauliflower everything.
Cauliflower macaroni and cheese. Have
Oh yeah.
you seen that one? Yeah.
I wonder what's the comedian what how he would feel about that. You know, he'd be on that mac. It's like, what? Do not put no cauliflower.
Right. I mean,
You
I
know.
put them on that because the mac and cheese is kind of you can't. It's hard to mess with
Mm, yeah,
that.
right.
Especially when
But
you
you
get that kind of recipe.
exactly. Grandma be rolling over in her grave like I know my baby dentist.
Cauliflower? What kind of
Right.
mess?
And I like too with your snack, you use egg whites.
Hmm.
So that
Hmm.
gives you some protein, you know, it kind of balances, you know, give you a little bit of protein, a little bit of fiber,
Yeah.
that satiation. What is it? So you stay satisfied a little bit
Hmm.
longer.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's with the Parmesan, like the original
Mm-hmm.
recipe I found called for cheddar cheese. So, I mean, you can
Mm-hmm.
keep it up with the cheeses, but I use Parmesan just because it's a little bit lower in calories and
Mm-hmm.
fat. I think feta would probably be a good option too, because if you want something that's going to have like that sharpness of flavor, feta or even goat cheese.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's good because it's kind of like crunchy around the edges, but it's kind of soft in the middle.
Soften. Gives you that texture.
Yeah, and I ate them when they were warm when they first came out of the oven, and then
Mm-hmm.
I set them on the counter to cool, and then I grabbed another one, and I was like, oh, they're good warm or cold, like it really makes for a really great grab and go food. If you're looking for that snack, like something to have, these are easy to
Yeah.
transport, carry, and even
Mm-hmm.
freeze.
Oh yeah, that's a good
Mhm.
one.
I'm all
Mm-hmm.
about like making stuff, and like what I'll do is I'll double this recipe. Now that I've tried it, I'm like, oh, this is good. I can do this. Double the recipe, and then like freeze some of them, and then just
That's
take them out when
good.
I want a snack. You know.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
that's good. I can also see myself eating those for breakfast, you know, like a grab and go breakfast.
Mhm.
And even when I like if I'm scrambling eggs or something in the morning, I'll throw some of these vegetables in there too.
Yeah.
You know, a warm salad or
Mhm.
even a cold salad. Like you, I can eat these vegetables warm or cold. You know, it's just like, you know, and throw them in stuff. And like on the program, Change Your Lifestyle, Change Your Life, you know, we say half of the plate vegetables, quarter of the plate protein, quarter of the plate carb. It helps you, you know, get your
Mhm.
vegetables in, you know.
Yeah.
So
And these are great
yeah.
recipes to get.
Yeah, right. You're gonna eat the vegetables. Well, let
Mhm.
me ask you this, Erin. How do you feel about these cauliflower chips and broccoli chips that you see now that like these cauliflower stalks and
I have I haven't tried cauliflower. I've had like broccoli chips.
mm-hmm.
They're okay. I mean, again, when it's in a package, you really have to look at the ingredients and like kind of figure
Mm-hmm.
out how it's been made. I mean, is it deep fried versus, dehydrated? I know some of the vegetables they've been doing like some of the dehydration method on.
Right.
Um, and the broccoli ones weren't bad. They actually were pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But again, just looking at the ingredients. I mean, because
Right.
I think some of these companies who make the not so good things try to make something that sounds better, like so they can say, "Oh, yeah,
Exactly.
we're on that health bandwagon." But then you look at the ingredients, you're like, "What
Right. And that's what
is
I
this?"
tell the participants. Like, look at the ingredients. I'm like,
Yeah,
and does it even look like cauliflower? Like, if it looks like a hot fry and it's
yeah,
in the shape of like, it's probably not.
right. Well, because
You
I remember
know,
getting
so.
my son one of those. Like they have one of the companies that has the vegetables. They had like some cauliflower tots or poppers or whatever. I was,
Mm-hmm.
that was when he was going through his piggy phase. So I was like trying to find anything to make sure he was getting vegetables. But then I started reading the ingredients and I was like, there's so much more in here than just cauliflower and
Cauliflower.
fried. And so I was like, okay, let me just figure out something else.
Something else, right?
I'm not
But
doing that.
you know, I think, you know, you probably would agree that there's a time and a place for all those things. You know, No, not to say that you should never eat. You
Yeah,
know how
absolutely.
don't want anybody who may be watching to feel bad because they had cauliflower tots for for dinner or for lunch. It
Yeah,
all has its place. Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. No, exactly. Now, have you tried have you tried like any of the cauliflower like pizza crusts?
I have not. Like early on, years ago, when it came out, I tried to make one on my own.
Yeah.
It didn't quite turn out,
I hear so
now
many
that
stories like that with that crust.
yeah, so it's like now it's more sophisticated. You can go to a grocery store and get it, and I'm sure they probably add a little bit of stuff in it to kind of make it bind better and all. But maybe there is one that's more natural where
Hmm.
you can pronounce all the ingredients in it. But
Right.
when I tried it a couple years ago, I wasn't sold on it.
Mhm.
But maybe it's gotten better. And it
Yeah.
just depends on where you go. Like if I went to a restaurant, I'm sure they put some good stuff in there to where
And then a
it'll
lot of
probably be
flavoring so that you can't right. A lot of salt.
right, a lot of butter, a lot of oil. So I'm sure it'd be amazing. But trying to keep it on the healthier end, I wasn't impressed.
Yeah.
You
No,
know, and I from go
go ahead.
ahead.
No, no, go ahead.
And for me, pizza is not something I eat every day or even every week. So
Yeah.
it's like if I'm gonna have pizza, I'll just have a slice of pizza.
Right. Just indulge that day.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Well, I tried it. I've tried it in the form of like a frozen pizza my husband bought, and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't bad. But when I was like, oh, maybe I'll make some. But it has some. It's like cheese, basically, is what's holding it together.
Yeah.
Kind of like, well, I try to stay away from dairy, so I was like, maybe
Mm-hmm.
this is not the right crust for me.
For me. But you're
And
the
dairy
dish diva.
pizza
You'll
usually,
probably come up with another way to bind it
yeah,
together. You'll be
yeah,
like, use this.
yeah. I mean, there
Yeah.
definitely some ways you could probably do that, but I just didn't feel like trying to figure it out.
I know that. You're
And
like,
again,
just
I
give
don't
me a
eat
slice
that
of
much
pizza.
either, and I was like, it's just not that serious.
You're right. That's me too.
That's the right thing. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Now, if it was something I was eating every day, I was like, maybe I
Yeah.
should make this a little bit healthier. But
Let me try to figure
yeah,
it out. Hmm.
just give me the deep dish and all the bread.
Right. Yeah. Well, I've done some like vegan cooking in the past, and
Mm,
I will tell you, they cauliflower was very popular with vegan cooking because it can be used in so many different things. So, for instance, like
mm.
I made an Alfredo sauce with it. So, like if you are like trying to avoid dairy or something of that nature,
Oh,
that is
really?
actually really, yeah, it was actually a pretty decent sauce.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's in. So when I say like it's versatile, like I always recommend like with my participants to look at cookbooks. Even if you're not a vegan or vegetarian or paleo or keto, like even just check out some of those recipes
Yeah.
because there are
Mm-hmm.
still some good things about all of them. And I think with the vegan recipes, they really find some creative ways. I mean, all they eat are plant materials, right?
Right.
So they
Yeah.
really find some creative ways to like create different things
Right.
using these plants.
Right, right. That's interesting. I've never. What about now? I've heard about a cheese sauce used with cashews. Have you?
Mhm, mhm.
Okay, but not cauliflower. Interesting.
Mhm.
Now, Erin, how do you typically eat? Do you eat meat or
Mhm.
do you lean towards? Okay. Because I know a lot of your, like somebody said, all the dish diva recipes are more on the vegetables, so like they're plant based. Does Erin eat meat? I was like, I think so, but
Sorry, guys.
I don't know.
I think what my thought, I'll tell you this, and you can tell your participants, my thought about it is that like sometimes when you're making these vegetable dishes, like it helps you concentrate on vegetables, right? And making sure you get
Yeah,
those vegetables in. And then you can just add meat to it.
yeah, that's
You know what I
true.
mean? Like, so you can grill some chicken, chop it up, add it into whatever, you've made, or you can, uh, I don't know, whatever the case, we say some sausage and put it in there with it.
Right. Some shrimp or
That the recipe, the vegan recipe as a side, and then add in some other.
mm,
So I,
hmm
I for me, I'm always like trying to figure out how to make something much more nutrient dense. And so, putting in those vegetables is the way to do it. I
right.
have some recipes with meat that I guess I'll have to take a look at that. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like,
But I
"Am
think
I
that's
using meat?"
amazing though, because I think that's amazing. I don't know if it's like a southern thing or what, but it seems like a meal is built around the meat, not the vegetable. It's like, okay, what's the what's the
Yeah,
meat?
yeah,
And then I can throw something with it.
yeah.
So
I get
yeah,
that.
so that's a good, I think that's a great approach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Start with those, yeah,
And I mean, maybe
vitamins and
that's what we're going
nutrients.
to get most of our nutrients from, right? Is from the fruit,
Yeah.
vegetables, and the plant materials. It's not going to be necessarily from the meat. I mean, you're going to get your protein
Protein,
and
maybe some iron.
yeah, some things like that.
Yeah.
But, the bulk of your nutrients are coming from plant materials. So that's why, when we talk about the plate, being half full with vegetables, that's the reason behind
Yes.
that. And when we're
Mm,
thinking about like our bodies getting insulin resistant, a lot of that is due to the fact that we're not getting the proper nutrients that we need for our body to function properly.
right.
So it's just one of those things like, okay, let's try to get some more nutrients in. And then, we start slowly, we start weaning out some of the bad stuff. And then our bodies start getting what it needs and it starts, behaving
Right.
better. And
Better.
yeah, so.
Right.
Mhm.
And that reminded me when you said that body behaving better, some of the side effects, right, of eating,
Oh, yeah, we gotta talk
vegetables that are high fiber.
about that. Well, and I know we were like, yay, broccoli. But people probably like, I don't eat broccoli.
Okay. Like
I
it
cannot eat
don't act
broccoli.
right in my stomach. Like I gotta be at work. I got
Right. Right. So I will say, I mean, we know that like, especially broccoli, I think broccoli is one of the bigger
yeah.
culprits, is that,
Hmm.
you tend to get some smelly gas. But like if you have a package of broccoli and it's kind of like sitting in there and like, or if you have it contained and you open it up, it kind of has that
Right.
smell like, whoo, is it bad?
Hmm.
But the cruciferous vegetables contain like sulfur. And so what happens is like when it goes to your system, that sulfur starts breaking down and then it comes out the other end.
Right.
And it's not always the most pleasant thing that's happening.
Right.
But a lot of
But
them,
that's good.
yeah. And so it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you
Right.
might have to be mindful of where you are when you're eating broccoli if you're eating a ton of it. But some
Right.
ways to kind of get around that, like some people do better with raw broccoli versus cooked or cooked broccoli versus raw. And so if you notice like you're getting, stomach cramps or really gassy, if you're eating it raw, try cooking it and see if that helps.
Right.
And then if it's still doing it, you can try cooking it some more. I know we tend to say don't
Mm.
overcook things, but sometimes with the broccoli, if you cook it till it's soft, like it will be a little bit more digestible.
Mm.
So
Hmm.
it's a matter of just kind of being more in tune with your body. But I
Right.
will say, like with it because the vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, they're both so high in fiber. And one of the things that's great about fiber is it helps push things through, but because our
Yes.
body can't digest it, sometimes it's
Mm.
a ferment in our system, and so that'll cause some smelly gas as well. So
Right.
it's kind of that's why we say increase the water, like make sure things are flowing. And
Right. 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 And it's good, right? At the end of the day, I think that's a good side effect, if you
yeah,
might say, or a good,
yeah.
because we all want to be regular. Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah, it
that's
makes you
good.
feel better.
Yeah, lighter, you feel lighter, so
Yeah,
that's good.
moving through,
That's
so it's not
awesome.
sitting in your intestine or your digestive tract causing problems. Like we want stuff to move through. So
Wow. Be the
cauliflower and
conduit, just
broccoli.
go through. Right. Exactly.
Well, Tiffany, this has been great. A great
As
discussion.
always.
As always, of course. I will definitely be posting the recipe for these bites. But like I said, they're very versatile, so you can kind of add in, cheeses you want, the spices you want, and then if you have a like a recipe like for the toppings you put on or the paste that you make
Okay.
for theirs,
Okay.
I can post that as well. And then
Okay.
everybody can have
Sounds
some options
awesome.
on how to eat their broccoli and cauliflower.
Cauliflower.
Yes.
Right. Cheers to broccoli and cauliflower.
And you see, I'm like
Yes.
killing my little bites
I
over here.
know my
So
bowls
good.
are, and I'm trying not to talk. So you know how it gets stuck in your teeth. I'll be smiling. I have all these green bits in my teeth. So y'all don't talk about me if I'm on any
I,
other skin.
every time I bed, I was like, let me clear my teeth.
I know,
What happens when you
like
snack and chat? It's
right. That's right. That's just part of
part of it.
it.
So don't talk about us, y'all.
Right. No judgment out there. All
All right, guys. Well,
right.
until next time, I will be seeing Tiffany again, I'm sure, and you guys
Of
will as
course.
well. But thanks for stopping by and listening to us snack and chat. We hope you enjoy more broccoli and cauliflower in your life. Till next time, happy eating.
Bye.